is partly in relation to recent events which have shown corruption at the highest level in Ipswich City Council. We believe that this is untenable. We don't believe that the council can just continue on in behaving and in dealing with developers the way that they have been. There's a couple of things that we really need to address, and some of those things some of our speakers will go into greater detail on. We believe that there has been a loss of the lifestyle that we've enjoyed in and around the Ipswich area now for many years, and that kind of lifestyle is being diminished because of planning decisions being made by the council. Those planning decisions were never made in consultation with existing residents and ratepayers. For example, we have those Sardine City type developments where developers have been allowed to construct houses on sub 300 metre square blocks, and often that's to the detriment of existing areas. Not only to the detriment of lifestyle of existing residents, but it's also to the detriment of the bushland, the habitat and the wildlife that exist in those areas. Most of us, or many of us, have grown up in and around Ipswich, and we've enjoyed that leafy, almost semi-rural type of lifestyle where you didn't have to walk very far at all to find some bushland, to find wallabies and platypuses in the creeks, koalas in the trees, koalas on the ground during the September month, and all of those things. This sign over here is just one of a number of koalas we found dead right next to a new development in Collingwood Park. So these are things that the council is directly responsible for, and the council and their relationships with developers is just an unhealthy type of relationship, because developers just seem to get whatever they want. And then we hear these latest revelations that developers are going to brothels with people from the council, and developers are giving money to people's election campaigns. And this, if you were in New South Wales and you were a councillor and you were receiving money from a developer, you'd go to jail for that. So why is it allowed here? Why is it allowed in Ipswich? Why is it so prevalent in Ipswich? Why do councillors, welcome developers with open arms to develop these sardine type of slums and then decimate wildlife, decimate bushland, don't consult whatsoever with existing residents, and are allowed to get away with it? And so what we're asking for is we're calling on the state government to launch an ICAC inquiry, an independent commission against corruption. The CCC has had limited powers. They don't have powers of coercion, for example. They don't have the type of judicial power that's needed for a proper inquiry into corruption. Another problem we have is that the Newman government, two things about the Newman government. One is the Newman government effectively changed the definition of corruption. So you basically had to be Al Capone to be defined as corrupt, and they took out any reference to relationships with developers. And the other thing that the Newman government did is they took away the enforcement of the vegetation management arrangements that were in place. So what that meant was that developers, farmers, mining companies, anybody could virtually destroy Commonwealth recognised critical habitat even, just for the sake of making a buck. That wouldn't happen in most other developed parts of the world. It just wouldn't happen. It wouldn't be accepted by anybody. In fact, I know of a case recently in Canada where developers have gone to jail for that kind of behaviour. So we just find that completely unacceptable. One of the other big problems we have with Ipswich City Council at the moment is the complete lack of transparency and the lack of accountability. We've been sending a series of questions to every councillor, all 10 councillors in Ipswich City Council, just asking questions that ratepayers are entitled to ask about finances, where their money goes, who it goes to, and that kind of thing. And every time we just get brushed off. So the councillors just brush us off, and they refer us on to the CEO. So the councillors haven't got a backbone amongst a whole lot of them. And then And then we get the CEO just gives us this legalistic mumbo jumbo to try and basically tell us to go and piss off and mind our own business. And that's just not acceptable. It's in the Local Government Act that they do have to answer those questions, and they do have to be accountable, in particular when it comes to the finances of the council, and they're just not meeting up to their obligations under the Local Government Act. So again, we're calling on the state government to dissolve the council, appoint an inquiry, and then call for fresh elections. We just think that this current council is untenable. The councillors won't answer any questions. The CEO won't answer any questions. So what choice have we got other than to ask for this council to be kicked out and for fresh elections to be called?
Stop council corruption!
It goes even further back than that. Even the conduct, the Triple C, if you don't know, is currently undertaking an inquiry, Operation Balcara, and they haven't finished. That's ongoing, and they're looking at the conduct of councillors and mayor and etc. at the last elections. So not only are they behaving in an unacceptable way now, currently, as councillors and mayor, but they were behaving in an unacceptable way at the elections last year. So we think that there's no basis for them to be able to legitimately claim that they should just continue on business as usual. We believe that, again, that this council should be dissolved, administrators appointed, and for fresh elections to be called.
Let's go around and have a look at the two councillors' signs on all the public property, on all the public roads. They don't give a stuff about the rules of an election. They don't care. Your sign is on a footpath at Riverview. It is so.
So that's something we will be taking up with the Triple C again. We're keeping a very close eye on the mayoral elections. We've already spotted what we believe is misconduct and unethical behaviour from certain candidates, and we will be bringing that up with the Triple C. Folks, you've probably listened to me enough for now. I'm going to hand over to Gemma Plesman. Gemma is the head of the Wilderness Society here in Queensland.
Thank you. Thanks, Jim. Thanks very much for having me here today, everybody. I'd like to start by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we're meeting here today and pay respects to elders past, present and future. Hands up if you are here this afternoon because you're concerned about the rate and the scale of destruction of the wildlife that you've seen around here, of the bushland that Jim mentioned there. I'm also here today because I'm concerned about the rate and scale of destruction of our bushland in southeast Queensland, right across southeast Queensland. The Wilderness Society right now are working with community groups like the one here that a few people are a part of. Hands up if you've been working with Jim to help organise this event today. Thank you very much for getting us all here. Well done. We've been working with community groups who are concerned about the rate and scale of bushland destruction across southeast Queensland because, frankly, Queensland has a problem. Every 3 minutes in Queensland, an area the size of the Gabba football stadium is being cleared of native vegetation. So what you're seeing in your community is really outrageous, and it's really the tip of the iceberg. And communities across southeast Queensland and across the state are not being consulted, and that's one of the reasons why you're here today. And the impact on our environment, on the green spaces and the green places that we love, that makes the community that you're part of home, are being destroyed, and you're not being properly consulted. So the reason why I'm here today is because we are offering support to community groups to fight back against destruction of the habitats, the wildlife that are being destroyed, like we've seen here around Ipswich. And if you'd like to get involved, there's a clipboard going around. Kane over there from the Wilderness Society is putting his hand up. And the next meeting of this Ipswich group that is starting a campaign to stop to talk about the impact that it's having on native environment here. If you'd like to get involved, put your name down on that sheet over there. Someone like Jim might get in touch with you. And, you know, as I mentioned there, this is something that we're not only seeing here in Ipswich in your own backyard, but we're actually seeing right across the state. And we know that we need better legislation to protect bushland and to protect communities who are trying to fight to protect their local bushland right across the state. So thank you very much for having me, and happy to stay around and have a chat as well. Like I said, please do look out for Kane. Put your name down on the sheet to get involved, because without community to stand up, the voice of these koalas there that you see in the pictures, the koalas do not have a voice. And Ipswich is home to one of the most vibrant populations of koalas, and we're losing them. We're losing them at a drastic rate. So we need community to stand up. So thank you for being here today, and I hope that you stay involved.
192 hectares a year since 2007 have been destroyed in Ipswich. 192 hectares every year.
That's outrageous, Gary. Folks, we've just got one of our speakers a little bit late, running late, so we'll just change the order slightly of speakers. Thanks very much, Gemma. We've got Dr. Martin Taylor from WWF. We'll have a few words.
Thanks, Jim. I'd also like to acknowledge and pay my respects to the traditional owners of the country where we are today, to their elders past and also emerging. Look, it's hard to know where to start. You know, Jim's already covered a lot. Our concern, of course, is just the rampant destruction of wildlife habitat. Here's a few statistics for you that actually haven't been heard in public before. We've just done these estimates. Roughly 34 million animals are killed every year by bulldozers. Right? Now, that might not be